Respect is not just about what you say, it begins long before words are spoken. The truth is, people feel you before they hear you. Walk into a room and before a single introduction is made, others are already reading your energy, your posture, your presence. This is what psychology calls state. Your state is your emotional and physical blueprint in the moment, and it radiates out of you like a frequency. If your state is anxious, closed off, distracted, people will sense it and treat you accordingly. But if your state is open, confident, centered, people will feel that too, and it sets the stage for respect. This is why so many high performers, athletes, leaders, and visionaries focus on priming themselves each day. They understand that state is not random. It is something you can control. Change your breath, you change your feelings. Change your focus, you change your meaning. Change your body, you change your energy. And when your energy shifts, the way people experience you shifts with it. Respect is often less about status or achievements and more about presence. People respect those who stand tall, breathe deeply, look them in the eye, and radiate a sense of certainty. Think of the last time you met someone who seemed completely comfortable in their own skin. You probably felt drawn to them instantly. Maybe they didn't even say much, but the way they carried themselves told you everything. They weren't proving, they weren't chasing approval, they weren't shrinking. They were simply grounded, and that grounded energy demanded respect. That is the power of state. It bypasses logic and goes straight to emotion. What's beautiful is that this is something anyone can practice. Start your morning by shifting your physiology. Take a few minutes to breathe deeply, to move your body, to prime your mind with empowering thoughts. Visualize yourself stepping into the day with clarity and strength. This is not just about feeling good, it is about conditioning respect from the inside out. Because when you meet someone from a place of centered power, they feel it. They may not know why, but something in them recognizes you as a person worth respecting. Respect begins with the energy you project, and the energy you project begins with the state you choose. When you master your state, you stop waiting for others to validate you and start leading the experience. That shift alone can change not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. Most people think respect comes from saying more, talking louder, filling the silence. But the truth is, respect often comes from the spaces between your words. Silence, when used with purpose, has a power that no amount of constant chatter can replace. A pause before you speak shows thoughtfulness. A pause after you speak makes your words land with more weight. Pauses turn ordinary sentences into moments people remember. Think of the speakers who moved you most. They weren't rushing, they weren't stumbling over their sentences. They had rhythm, they had command, they knew the pause was not empty, it was presence. It created anticipation, it drew you closer, it made you hang on to what came next. That's not an accident, it's psychology. People instinctively respect those who aren't afraid of silence, because it signals control, confidence, and composure. When you pause, you're telling the world you're not desperate for attention. You're not scrambling to prove yourself. You're centered enough to let the silence speak for you, and silence does speak. It speaks volumes about your confidence, your clarity, and your sense of timing. Even in conversations, a pause before responding shows you're considering what was said, not just reacting. That makes people feel valued and it earns their respect. Of course, the pause is an art. Too short and it feels like hesitation. Too long and it feels uncomfortable, but the right pause, measured, intentional, and steady, creates rhythm and impact. Just like music isn't just about the notes but the spaces between them, communication isn't just about words but the spaces that allow them to breathe. When you're in a high-stakes moment, a presentation, an interview, a conversation that matters, practice the pause. Feel the silence instead of fearing it. Breathe into it instead of rushing past it. That shift changes everything. People stop hearing just your words and start feeling your presence. And presence is what they respect. Everyone wants to be heard, but few people truly listen. And that's exactly why listening is such a powerful path to respect. When you give someone your full attention, when you stop thinking about your next response and instead immerse yourself in their words, You are giving them one of the rarest gifts in today's world, presence. Think about how it feels when someone listens deeply to you. They're not distracted, not looking at their phone, not rehearsing their reply. They're leaning in, nodding, asking thoughtful questions, reflecting back what you said. In that moment, you don't just feel heard, you feel understood, and that feeling creates respect almost instantly, because if someone cares enough to listen at that level, you know they care enough to value you. The psychology is clear. People don't remember every word you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. Listening makes people feel significant, and significance is at the core of human respect. It lowers defenses, builds trust, and deepens connection. It's not passive, it's active. Active listening takes energy, it takes focus. It means entering the world of another person and putting your own agenda on hold long enough to really grasp theirs. And here's the paradox: when you listen more, you actually gain more influence. People respect your perspective more because they know you took the time to understand theirs. They trust your input because it comes from empathy, not ego. That's why the best leaders aren't always the loudest talkers. They're the ones who listen first, speak second, and choose their words with wisdom born from understanding. In your relationships, in your career, in your everyday conversations, practice the art of listening like a leader. Put the phone down, maintain presence, repeat back what you've heard, ask questions that dig deeper. People will notice, they'll feel it, and once they feel it, they'll respect you not for what you've said, but for how you've made them feel. Respect doesn't come from perfection. Nobody trusts perfection because it isn't real. Respect comes from consistency, from showing up in alignment with your words and your values again and again, in big moments and small ones. Humans are wired to look for patterns, and when people see your actions consistently reflect your principles, they begin to trust you, and trust is the root of respect. Think of someone in your life who always follows through. Maybe they aren't flashy, maybe they don't have all the answers, but when they say they'll do something, they do it. Over time, their reliability earns a deep respect. Contrast that with someone who says one thing and does another. No matter how charming or talented they are in the moment, respect slips away because inconsistency breeds doubt. Consistency communicates integrity. It says, you can count on me. And the more often people can count on you, the more respect you accumulate. This doesn't mean never making mistakes. It means owning mistakes when they happen, correcting them, and continuing to act in alignment with your values. In fact, people often respect honesty in failure more than perfection in success, because honesty proves character. The psychology behind consistency is simple. Predictability creates safety. When people know what to expect from you, they feel secure, and in that security, respect grows. Leaders who flop on values lose credibility, but those who stay true inspire loyalty. Friends who keep their word build trust, while those who don't quickly lose it. Respect thrives where trust is steady. If you want to earn lasting respect, don't focus on perfection, focus on alignment. Focus on showing up the same way whether anyone's watching or not. Focus on letting your actions match your words not once, but consistently. Over time, that pattern will speak louder than any speech. And people will respect not the performance, but the person. Respect grows fastest when you give it away. Many people chase respect by trying to prove themselves, showing off their accomplishments, demanding recognition. But the paradox is that the more you focus on lifting others, the more respect naturally flows back to you. Humans have a deep psychological need for significance. Everyone wants to feel valued, appreciated, and recognized. When you provide that to someone, when you notice their effort, celebrate their progress, highlight their strengths, you create an emotional bond. They feel elevated, and in that elevation, they look at you with gratitude and respect. Think of the leaders, teachers, or mentors who impacted you most. Were they the ones always demanding the spotlight, or the ones who shined it on you, The ones who competed with your success, or the ones who celebrated it? You respect the people who believed in you, who encouraged you, who lifted you higher than you thought you could go. And the reason you respect them is simple. They gave you respect first. Elevating others doesn't mean empty praise. People can sense when it's fake. It means paying real attention, noticing what's genuine, and acknowledging it openly. It could be as simple as thanking someone for their effort, complimenting their growth, or recognizing their contribution in front of others. These small acts have enormous psychological impact because they validate worth. When you practice elevating others consistently, something shifts in the environment around you. People stop seeing you as competition and start seeing you as a source of encouragement. That shift builds admiration. It makes you the kind of person others want to follow, trust, and respect. Respect given multiplies into respect received, and often in far greater measure than you gave it. The fastest path to respect is not demanding it, but giving it freely, and when you lift others, you don't lose anything. In fact, you gain influence, connection, and the kind of respect that lasts far longer than anything forced.